Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Admiral Markets. This is Chris speaking here, and I'm talking to you through a different way, a microphone than usual. And it's actually not a headset mic, but a proper microphone. Not sure if it's better, so I would like to ask first of all if you can hear me properly. What is the sound from your point of view? Is it better than usual, or is it worse than usual? Can you hear me first of all? That's the main thing first I want to check. Okay, great. I got one person saying it's okay. Thank you, Cheriyawat. Anyone else that can confirm that the sound is okay? And we can move on. It's a bit unusual for me to have the microphone that's so far away, but it should be working. Great. Cool. So I'll move on. We're going to talk today about Fibonacci and wave trading. Fibs and waves work excellent hand in hand. They're very supportive of each other, and in that regard, just a great combination. So we'll be taking a look at these two things today in our webinar at Admiral Markets. First of all, though, before we start looking at the Forex charts, be aware that this webinar is intended for a global audience. It may not be suitable for everyone. Please take a look at this link, admiralmarketsglobal.com, to find out information about that, if it is suitable for you, and other conditions and details. All right, then select your country of residence and then contact an appropriate entity once you're at that link. Also, trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is not advice and is for informational and educational purposes only. And by continuing watching this webinar, you are aware of the risks involved and agree with this risk disclaimer. All right. Be aware that this week we have a UK Forex award contest. If you haven't voted already, we would gladly, highly appreciate your vote. And if you already have voted, then I sincerely thank you for that vote. If you think that Admiral Markets is a great MT4 broker, or broker in general, or if you think that we have great analytics or great education or great customer service, anything that you think is good, then we would highly appreciate your vote. All right. Thank you so much, Chari Yavat. That's perfect. We appreciate that. So let's take a look at the calendar. For those that are entering a bit later in the room, I'm using a different microphone. So the sound could be different, hopefully better, but I'm not 100% sure. Could you maybe give me an idea, is it indeed better? Is the sound now better than usual? Or is it the same? That would be good to know. Today, well, we had basically Australian interest rate decision stayed at 2, and we had also India interest rate decision. We have let's see, some pound news in the morning, somewhere here. The construction PMI. And otherwise this week, well, we have a lot of dollar news. We have ADP on Wednesday. We have NAP on Friday. We have Bank of England news on Thursday. So yeah, it's going to be quite a rough and tough week, I would say, considering also the fact that it is now, in the meantime, August. And of course, that's a clear summer month of trading. And summer month of trading means that movements can be a lot slower. Price action will not drive as far. Momentum will not go as far. So when entering and exiting, be careful that we just can't have the same expectations as normal. Gotta grab that profit a bit sooner, probably on average, because on average, August is not known for big movements. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the market. Yeah, definitely, Ahmad. I can do that, no problem. We'll take a look at the Fibonacci settings. Can do that very soon, in fact. Let me put on the blank chart here. One second, folks. Just bear with me for 1 minute. I'm looking for the link so you can vote. I'm trying to find it, but okay, I think that is a link that should bring you, if you want to vote, here's that link. All right, there it is. Okay, good. I hope that's the link. And yeah, Eurodollar 4-hour chart. Basically, when looking at the 4-hour chart, we can see prices in the triangle, still stays in the triangle. And well, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eurodollar stays in a corrective mode for at least 2-3 weeks, or maybe entire August. It's basically in this wedge, and this morning there was a chance to potentially buy off a 78.6 fib. When fibbing this last move up here from fractal to fractal, you can see price, well, roughly at the 78.6 fib at around 109.40. All right, so that's also what I was talking about when looking at the Elliott wave post, wave analysis that I posted on Admiral Markets site this morning. It said 78.6 Fibonacci levels offer potential for deep bounces. So we are getting some bounce. Let's see how much bounce we really, continuation we get. But let's take a look at the wave count first of all on the Eurodollar, and I will go back to the charts. So basically, you can see how choppy it is. Just looking at the 4-hour chart. We have a green W up in here, left upper corner, with that arrow. We have a green X right there, and we have a green Y. That WXY is probably part of a bigger wave 4 in blue, where I have the green box. The wave 4 is known for its choppiness, for its consolidation, for its correctiveness. So something like this is very, very, very typical for a wave 4. So when will that wave Y and wave 4 end? Well, it could end in anywhere this month or September, I think. Especially, of course, if we do get a dollar interest rate in September, which now maybe seems a bit less likely than a few months ago. The wave 4 was certainly, well, not certainly, but there's a high chance that wave 4 indeed will be completed. Typically, August is not known for its, massive movement. So probably end of August, September is more likely. So wave Y, the green one, can last for a while. So within wave Y, we're making some kind of correction like this here. So let's take a look at the hour chart. And within wave green Y, you can see, we're making expanded corrections, WXY, ABC here. Let's see, there's something missing. Here, sorry. Here, A, B, C, part of the W, and then we have another A, B, C, part of the X. And now maybe again another A, B, C of Y, of green Y. That's possible. So that's what I'm thinking of. Basically that, we're close to support. We finished an ABC down. So this could be a bouncing spot for a rally of the purple C again, just like we've seen before. So another rally like that is what I'm thinking is from a wave perspective, the most likely. All right, so back to the chart. So from this point of view, obviously, we're also near a support trend line, and there's more space to resistance than there is to support. So looking for longs today, from that point of view, makes sense. But let me still take a look at other charts here to see some different angles. All right. From a weekly point of view, 108 is very important, and this resistance is very important. Our price has stayed in that for how many weeks now? 15 weeks. So we could easily stay another 3 weeks. That's not necessarily too difficult, especially in the month of August. So I'm not expecting price to break through 108 for this or next week at least. Right? If it does, it could be a breakout to the downside. You never know; it could happen, but not expecting it at the moment. If it does break below 108, then that could be the start of the continuation of the downtrend. Which downtrend? This one. Oh, there it is. This downtrend. All right, and then we can see it could follow through to maybe parity. As long as 108 holds, which I think is a decent chance, there is more potential for price to go sideways. So from this point of view, 108 is pretty close by, and the daily bottom at 109-ish, those are all pretty close by. And resistance levels are pretty far away. So here too, the reward to risk is more to the upside than to the downside. All right. So from that point of view, obviously there's no guarantee that price will make an upside, but a long here, from that point of view, made sense. Now, if a person is not in the long, what to do now? Well, I think from a probably the best idea is to wait for the pound news, or at least take a look at intraday longs. I don't think swing trade makes sense. There's not that much space, but an intraday potential breakout is okay. So the fib trade, because we're looking at fibs and waves, was from the 78.6 fib. That was the fib trade, or the 61.8 even, right? Now price is moving away from it. So from a fib point of view, that's it. What would have to be done would be a breakout trade. So for a breakout trade, it would be better to use the Camarilla pivot point indicator. There we go. All right. And from that point of view, you can see we're at the H3. Getting a bit of a headache at the H3 here, a bit of a resistance. So one breakout trade could be a push through this trend line and a push through H3 and a push above the daily pivot point. H4 is not the target, but it could be a pause. H5 would be the Camarilla target, and this kind of space here would be to the upside for a breakout on the Eurodollar. So, if someone didn't catch the 78.6 fib down here, then this could be the alternative, a breakout. From a fib point of view, if it doesn't break out, there is a slight chance it could still go deeper. It could go to the 88.6 fib at 109.18. That too could still be a bouncing spot, by the way. So breakout or a bounce at the 88.6 fib. Those are the things I'm looking for today's today's market. But and that's why also I have a limited target in mind. I mean, the H5 is a very tight target because yesterday was a slow trading day. That means that the Camarilla levels are close to each other. I don't think that is necessarily needed. I think that aiming for a bit higher is possible. Let me take a look at the pivot points. Let's see which one. I think I have to, 1 second, let me quickly add them. Okay. Anyhow, I have to fix that. I'll do it after the webinar. Let me see if I can find a template that, maybe this one. No. All right, I'll have to fix that a different time. But yeah, I was looking for pivot points, but I will do it in a second. I have to delete some indicators first. I have too many on it, but anyhow. From a target point of view for today, yeah, the H5 is okay. Nothing wrong with the H5. Or it could be a bit higher, maybe 110.50. Max 111, I would say. Because obviously we still have that resistance line coming in here. Like this. So I don't expect a breakout today. So that would be the very max target, I would say. 110.75 probably. Maybe tomorrow we can get a bigger breakout above this resistance line right here. But that's something I would say is, tomorrow. Because what can happen is that today could go up, we can hit it, tomorrow could still be down, and then Thursday could be up, and we can finally break that line on Thursday. So when placing targets, I would definitely be more conservative than aggressive due to, the August month. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's move on to pound dollar. Okay, pound dollar, we got similar structure. We got W, X, Y of a bigger Y, and within Y we have another Y and another Y. So in other words, we got the same corrective structure. We do have, some kind of slow, shallow angle to the upside, looking at these lines, these trend lines, right? So there's some push there. And because of that, if we do, this is a bit of an ascending wedge when looking at the trend lines, the green and the orange one here. Flat top, angled support line. So if we do break above the resistance, there's a chance for a breakout to the upside, up to, for instance, that resistance line again. Now, once again here, I wouldn't be surprised to see a breakout and to see a break, pull back, choppiness, and then maybe another break, choppiness. I don't think that breakout is going to be very fast. But there is that chance for some movement to the upside. This zone has lasted long. Space is getting tighter. So there's going to be some type of breakout at one point or another. And you can see that choppiness here on the 1 hour chart. All right, so same story as the Eurodollar. Recent bounce at 78.6 fib, where I have the arrow. Could have been a good long for those that like fibs with a tight reward to risk, or tight risk and decent reward potential. All right, so that was the fib trade really at that point. But let's take a look. Let's see if there's any breakout potential. All right, so a lot of choppiness here on the hourly. Not sure if the breakout is that good. We had a break above this trend line already, and prices may be hooking back. So I'm still cautious. This is momentum here, 3 bars, could qualify. So as long as this bottom doesn't get broken, at 155.64, then I would say there's still more upside potential. At this moment, it seems to be indecision. What I would like to see is another candle here after the news event, about 1.5 hours from now. So I want to see this candle close, then the next candle close, and then if we get a fractal here, a resistance, a breakout there with a stop loss below here or here. Could be worth it. Breakouts are a bit riskier in this August environment, but that could be a bounce. Or after the news event, if price is somewhere here, it could still be a bouncing spot too. What I mean is that after, with the fractal, I mean is now we don't have a fractal. But what is the definition of fractal? Two closed candles to the left and to the right. So if we get this candle closed at the end of the hour, 54 minutes from now, and the next one, right, then there is a fractal here. The first fractal, yes, but this first fractal here, right, was broken by candle number 12. This is something different than fibs. Right, so that's why the other fractal would be this one. If we get a break of that, that could be an interesting level too. So as long as we stay in between these two levels, we're in a range, I think, roughly, at this moment. So I need a break either below it, not that interesting at the moment. Still support, I think, pretty close by, right? Or above it, which is more interesting, at least for a small trade, but there's not a lot of space. So either a retest and bounce or a breakout to resistance. Those seem the potentials for today. It's quite crowded, let me say it this way. There's not a lot of space. Okay, so other than that, let's see. Jenny, is there anything else that I don't want to, there's quite a lot of text you had there. Is there something that you still, because if I have to read that, I'm afraid that I'll slow down the webinar a bit too much. If there's anything that you think that I haven't discussed yet properly, just let me know, okay? And the Caitlin, I'll talk, please remind me at the end of the webinar. I'll first take a look at other pairs, okay? Take a look at that later on. All right, so otherwise, I don't think there's much to say. Let's see, just looking at all the angles, seeing if there's anything I missed. Obviously, if we start breaking down this bottom here, it could certainly be indeed a bearish momentum correction and downside. It's possible. It's definitely possible to have a bearish ABCD like that. Especially if you look at the weekly chart. This is the 6th week. We haven't broken this top, but the 6th week was still bullish. So ultimately, if this week fails to break that top, then the upside momentum that we had here is over, and we could see a bigger correction or perhaps reversal. So from that point of view, it's going to be an interesting week. Ultimately, I need a break below this trend line right here for more potential to the downside like this. All right. The way it's moving now is quite choppy indeed. We had momentum here, we had momentum here, and now this is choppiness. So from that point of view, it could really break both ways. It could break below this and go along with the bearish momentum, or it could break above here and start to push there and go along with this momentum. From my point of view, I really see both, and both are really possible. I guess it just depends where it breaks. It could not break, and the thing is, if it breaks, of course, anytime soon, it could stay within those wedge lines, the ascending wedge line, for quite a while. So these ascending wedge lines, the purple line, the bigger term lines, this one and this one, those are key in my opinion when analyzing the pound USD. The moment I would say there's more potential to resistance because we're close to the bottom. But if that line does break, then there's more potential for downside down to support. And that's my cat. I don't know if you heard her, but she's saying hi. All right, so, and then there could be a bounce here, and if we again break below it, there could be a breakout like this. So each line represents bounce and break spots, basically. But for the moment, I see a break of the purple or an attempt to break. So there's more potential, I would say, today, slightly more potential up to the upside, but it's all quite, iffy. Let's see. On 4-hour chart, I don't see a zigzag. I just see choppiness here. I see is a bearish momentum here, but that top has already been broken. All right, so that was already here broken right there with the arrow. After that, I just see kind of a sideways price action, basically. So price kind of going sideways. All right, let's take a look at some other pairs. There's a good question about why August, what makes August a slow month? And well, basically, it's just a vacation month. A lot of traders, a lot of banks have their traders, trading, managers all on holidays. So it's basically backup. Yeah, I mean the banks are manned by backup shifts. Let's say it this way. So that's why typically not big movements are made or traded because there's just it's a thinner market, so you could get sometimes very wacky movements, maybe less volume, so you could suddenly see a big price shift, but then quickly a retracement because there is no follow through. There's just not a lot of participation, just because of the summer month, just because of holidays. So yeah, a lot of ranges, and if you have a breakout, it could easily revert, or you could have a sudden. It's just a wackier environment. You can have a sudden a big price movement because liquidity is thin, but it could go for a while and all of a sudden revert. So you have to be more on your toes. Dollar yen is, there is some space to the upside here if we break above resistance. And if price breaks this small triangle to the downside, it could go back to the 50 fib. Like that. All right, so something like that. Breakout here, or I would say breakout here. The 50 fib, basically this is still the same swing high, swing low. It stopped at the 38.2 fib, so the next target could be the 50 if it breaks below it. And that could be a bouncing spot at the 50. Or if it does break above resistance, the target would be something to think about. We got a 1 hour bottom here. And a 1 hour top here. Same thing. Wedge lines like this. I consider this to be the main top, not this one, because price can still break it and hit this resistance and move down. So if we break above 124.25, 124.50, that could be the breakout zone. Or if price pushes below this, which is 123.80-ish. So I'll keep an eye on those lines. Now, how to enter, of course, that's something that there are various ways. One could wait for a good 4 hour or 1 hour candle pushing through the trend line with a good close near the high. Could be even a pending order like I have to the upside at 124.52. With spacious stop loss though, as you can see. Or the candle close. Or just use the Camarilla and look for breakout levels below L3 and above H3. AUD is flying to the upside. My sell stop didn't get taken in, so I will delete that. And you can see that, of course, the Aussie was moving up during the news event. Big bullish move during the news event. It still rides the upside. Now, it wasn't a downtrend, so personally, wasn't look. There was divergence, so that was possible. This was a downtrend channel that had divergence, so basically both were possible. Now it's getting the move up. At the moment, I really don't see. I wouldn't be trading the Aussie today. It's made already a good upside, and it's in a downtrend. So I wouldn't want to trade it to the upside because it's still near resistance and already made a substantial move. I wouldn't want to trade it to the downside because there's a lot of momentum to the upside. So, all right, Kiwi. Probably the same story. Good downtrend on the daily. Well, ultimately, if it breaks through this trend line, perhaps, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen soon. But if it does, it could be something to trade. Probably will need a bit more time. Looks like a triangle. I would wait still. All right. Dollar CAD isn't a big uptrend, but there is maybe divergence between these tops now. Ultimately, I do think the trend will continue. We broke above many tops. In fact, the weekly top at 128, the daily top at 130.80. So ultimately, I think this could be just a pullback from our upside. I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar CAD does make the potential for further upside. So from this point of view, a fib on the dollar CAD I think makes sense from here to here. And a retracement to the 50 or the 38.2 fib I think are possible longs right here. Stop loss preferably below this bottom. Very, very minimum below the 61.8. But that is risky because price could retrace all the way down to the 886 fib, still bounce up. In today's price action, there's confluence between the L5 and the 50 fib and the long-term moving average. So that could be something worth keeping an eye on. A long right about there. If one does use a tight stop loss below the 61.8, then it's important to get a good, strong, solid bounce up. And then preferably some kind of bull flag. If that happens, the stop loss could be quickly moved to break even. And then there should be follow through. If there are any signs of downside, bear flag, then exit the trade with the market exit. Because then the stop loss below the 61.8 is in serious trouble. Because the bear flag could break and boom, to the 78.6, bounce, and the trade goes for a loss. That's the risk of using a tight stop loss. It's manageable, partly manageable, if there is a strong reaction to it. Pound yen. All right. Ultimately, this here, nice momentum. And on the hourly, we've been correcting lower, like this. So from that point of view, it could be ready for an uptrend again. Definitely depends on what the dollar yen will be doing. I'm looking for a 4-hour break, as you can see here. Now, the stop loss could be a bit tighter, actually. All right, so I don't know. It's possible this breakout here. Otherwise, besides that, I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see one more hit on this trend line, a pullback, and then break like that. But I don't see anything I would like to trade at this moment. This looks a bit like a bear flag at the moment. And if anything, at this point in time, from a 1-hour perspective, if it breaks this bottom here, or next hour, after the news event, if it breaks this bottom, it could be a bear flag break, and we could see a continuation of this bull flag. All right, so we have a smaller bear flag within the bull flag, perhaps. So trading it to the downside is a bit risky because there's not a lot of space. Neither to the upside. More space is either probably below the flag or above the flag. So maybe not all too keen on the pound yen at the moment. I mean, there is potential. But maybe not so much now. I still think that obviously this is a channel to the upside. It's just will it hold or not? It could hold, could break. Let's see. This could be a breakout to the downside. From a fib point of view, let me put a fib on this very last swing high, swing low. And this one. All right, we had a 38.2 fib bounce here, so if we do break below the channel, we could go down to the 50. Here we had a 38.2 fib bounce. The 50 could still be a strong spot, but if we break below the 50, then we could start accelerating down to this 50 fib. Those are spaces to the downside. Spaces to the upside, here, here. that something roughly what you were looking at too, Beverly? Euro yen, let me finish Euro yen. Actually, Euro yen is quite messy. It's all chopped. Ah, nice. Great. We have confluence in that case. Cool. So yeah, Euro yen is pound yen looks definitely better than Euro yen because that's, well, it's all these moving averages are on top of each other, and when that happens, using fibs is not so appealing because fibs are, as we know, primarily good for for trending environments. And if you want to know more about fibs, take a look at YouTube. All right, the two things you might want to do is follow Admiral Markets YouTube because you'll have uploaded the webinars and the videos, and you can keep an eye on that. And also maybe Elite Currency because there we have an informational serial or series on Fibonacci. So if you like Fibonacci, that could be a useful source. Right? Besides all the the webinars on Fibs, of course, at Admiral Markets. So I'll provide you the channels in a second. So maybe these two trend lines could be useful for Euro yen. Otherwise, I don't see much. Regarding here you can see Admiral Markets. It's very simple. Just type in Admiral Markets at YouTube, subscribe, and you'll get a warning when there's something available, like this Wall Street crossover show, for instance. And my weekly Forex overview. That was yesterday. It's always on Mondays, Monday mornings, my time Monday mornings. All right, so that's just at Admiral Markets. And then if you go to Elite Currency, then you'll be able to see the Fibonacci series. Let me quickly show you. No, that's not it. Go to playlists. And there is a fib, let's see, I don't see it at the moment. Strange. All right, there should be a series on Fibonacci. I don't see it now, which is a pity, but anyhow. I'll try to get that back. I don't know where it went to. It's weird. Anyhow, there should be sometime soon. There should be something on Fibonacci. It just is not there at the moment. I don't know why. Yeah, that looks like a mafia man. Good one. So you're odd. No, it was a separate category, so no clue why this category is not there. Maybe I deleted it by accident. I don't know. It's weird. Alrighty. You're odd. It made a break to the downside. Did take that trade right here. That break. Oh, what happened there? Did take the break here on the Eurod. Target is the 88.6 fib. I personally wouldn't be, probably also the 61.8 target, yeah, just a bit below it. So we're getting probably a zigzag here, like this. Pound out, same thing. We're getting a correction. It was a big trend. It was about 2,500 pips, which is about 25 cents. Went up 13% in 2 months, pound out. And here showing some kind of mini head and shoulders. It had a rising wedge pattern. It had divergence as well between these tops. So it's not that surprising that we're getting a bigger break to the downside. Ultimately, I need a break below this moving average or otherwise a hook back to look for new shorts, because now it already moved down quite a lot. So same thing with the Aussie, just waiting for more for tomorrow basically. I mean, I took the Euro out. I'm already in that trade, so I won't do anything except wait for either the target to get hit or move the trail stop loss to probably above this candle high. All right. Let me think. Euro pound maybe. Quite choppy. Maybe something like this. Looks a bit like a falling wedge. Doesn't really look that tradable. Doesn't really look that interesting. So is there any other pair maybe you have in mind? Maybe some exotic? I think I looked at all the major crosses and majors. Anything else you have in mind? Let's see. Jenny is asking in wave, you say that if price goes beyond the 100%. Let's see. The wave analysis is invalidated. Let's see. Well, that depends. Oh yeah, today, yeah. For today's, yes, true. If price goes beyond this bottom. Let's see. Well, good point. I think that the short is, let's see. I would still indeed be careful with this break. This is the 88.6 fib. Okay. Well, typically an 886 fib is the last fib that gets a bounce. This is still the bottom, so I'd still be cautious. The best is still below the bottom. The best is actually to let it break and then hook back probably to this broken level. So probably still this is the most important one from a fib point of view. From a trendline point of view, this could already be a breakout. So both have their own kind of merit. It depends really which one you like more. But from a fib point of view, you're looking for a break of the 100. From a trendline, you're looking for a break of this. If you're using both, then depends how aggressive or conservative you want to be. Okay, by the way, I managed to find it. Fibonacci, it's on the left here, playlist. I'm not sure why it wasn't in the main menu, but there it is. Fibonacci, there are about 12 videos now, and today there should be one added, so there should be 13 by today. Anyhow, this trend line is a support trend line. All right, so if it breaks, that could be a breakout to the downside. From a fib point of view, this is still the main fib. So fib traders will be waiting for this one. Okay, No other. Oh, we have indices as a favorite. So wrapping up the currencies, looks like the euro dollar is breaking actually right now. So that could be potential long on the euro dollar. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on this and see how it develops throughout the next few minutes. We don't have a lot of time left. Put the stop loss below the bottom. Bit spacious. Target for the moment I'll aim for 110.70, but I would easily move that down. That's no problem. Alrighty, trail stops. Well, it could be an hourly trade. It depends which time frame you want to look at it. If it's an hourly trade, then anytime there are 5 candles not breaking this high. If it's a 50-minute candle trade, then anytime there are 6 candles of 50-minute not breaking it. This could easily retrace back down to this, so it could be wiser maybe to wait for a bounce here instead of the breakout. The cable, I would rather look for an hourly fractal here because of the news event. I wouldn't want to take the trade on the pound until after the news event. So basically, if this becomes a fractal, or if the news event shoots it up and this does not become a fractal, then unfortunately it could be too late. It either shoots up like this, and I'll have to wait probably for some pullback before taking it again. That's the only way. So it's either, depends on the news event. If the news event does something like this, could basically be maybe a breakout around here as soon as this fractal breaks right here. You know, we have to work with future fractals really in a way. That sounds maybe a bit futuristic, but what I mean is that it really depends on the news event. You know, if the news event goes up, then I have to wait for the pullback. If the news event goes down, I have to wait for the bounce and then continuation break. The break after the first bounce. Or, of course, the news event is so strong that it starts doing this, then of course something else is going on. And I wouldn't be looking for longs anymore. All right. Dollar CAD, to summarize, looking for longs from 50 fib. And otherwise, those were the 2 most interesting ones, I think. Yeah, that's it. I don't think that the Euro is on its way. It's doing well. I'm up more than 130 at the moment, but the Aussies are not that interesting to trade right now. Unless maybe you look on a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, there could be some follow through. Let's see, pound yen, euro yen, pound yen maybe, but if it breaks, we'd have to break through this fractal and we're bumping into a 50 fib. So no, I wouldn't be looking into shorts unless it really breaks through the 50 fib. Maybe even longs at the 50 fib or longs here. Euro yen is not interesting. Kiwi, not that interesting. Dollar yen maybe, but it's the opposite of the euro dollar is just a break to the downside instead. So the dollar CAD and euro dollar and pound yen, seem to be the most interesting at the moment. Yeah, not a lot of choice. Maybe the crosses are more interesting. But before I do that, let me take a look at the DAX. All right, I have to really think deep a bit, but I remember that it was falling quite strongly, and we said this is actually a very difficult spot because it has a lot of momentum to the downside, but it's also near support. So I think I was looking for this inverted head and shoulders. It didn't get there quite yet. As you can see, I think it almost turned very soon after we were looking at it, or it was turned already, I don't know, but it was difficult because it was moving down, but support was close by. Ultimately, we had a few days upside. Alrighty, let's take a look at the 1 hour. In this channel to the upside, but it did have a break above this trend line. So we had a corrective kind of structure, but when we broke here, we expanded that. Let's see, the bear flag so far, it looks like a bear flag, but yeah, it hit the 50 fib and went past it. So is it a bear flag or a channel? If it goes really above the 50 fib, it's a channel, not a bear flag. So for the moment, actually, due to this break right here, it's turned more from a bear flag. It's less a bear flag and more a channel at the moment. Bounced at the 61.8 fib. So from that point of view, if we get a few more hours like this, some kind of triangle, a breakout triangle would be okay. But not at the moment. That would still wait a few hours. Yeah. This is, let's see. Looking like a bit like a bear flag here. I wouldn't be surprised to see just this direction continue like that. Now, if it does break above this channel, if it does break above this top in H3, then we could see the breakout to the upside. All right. But for the moment, as long as it stays in between here or even in here, well, actually, if it gets to L4, it could be a bounce to the upside. If it stays here for the next few hours, I wouldn't want to trade it. Maybe the very last 3 hours or so, I could, there could be a breakout. Or if it does push above here. All right, so bounce, break, caution for next few hours until the 13th hour, as you know, that I look at, and then there's the potential for a breakout. So that's I don't trade it, but that's what I would be looking for. The Skype group, that's interesting. I never thought about it actually. It's an interesting idea. I mean, don't think I'm on Skype 24/7, but it's a good idea. Write me an email if you're interested in that. Okay. So the idea, once again, from Caitlin is a Skype group where traders can talk amongst each other and post charts and discuss entry ideas. So if you think that's interesting, send me an email and I can coordinate it and I can make a group. Yeah, it's a very cool idea. I never ever thought about it, but it makes a lot of sense. WhatsApp. I don't have it personally, and I know it's very big in Holland and probably in Italy maybe too. I don't know, but I don't use it myself. Skype. I use Skype because I'm behind the PC all the time. I don't use my mobile that much. Alrighty, let's take a look at some crosses. Yeah, definitely Caitlin, indeed. Even if Ned and I would not be able to write anything at that particular moment, there's perhaps other traders that do have time, and you can get feedback on that. Definitely a bit more live interaction, indeed. Forums can be slow, definitely. All right, depends on, of course, who's participating and how many people there are, and etc. But Skype can be very fast indeed. All right, New Zealand CAD. Let's take a look. Looks a bit choppy. Let's see if there's anything better. Aussie, of course, is moving up against all others as well. I'll take away my Euro CAD. My pound CAD will probably be closed soon. As soon as this 6 candle is closed, I'm out of that trade to the upside. I don't see many crosses that look very interesting. The Swiss yen is in a downtrend, perhaps. CAD yen, maybe. No, nothing really appealing to me somehow. Oil, after a rebound, interesting rebound here, interesting fall, rebound, and now again a break. Really pushing lower. And it had a big momentum. It was really huge. This kind of wedge break here. So I'm curious how far it can go. I mean, this momentum was pretty strong, and maybe, I wouldn't say the target is, but maybe it can retest this bottom. This low. Difficult to imagine, but it's really happening. Yeah, triangle. Yeah. Triangle indeed. Not really that tradable now with this bottom so close by. break below the bottom could be some space for downside, but I don't know. Yeah, there is, in theory, there is that space down to the next bottom right here. But obviously, it's quite at low levels. I don't know. That psychologically may be difficult to imagine, but it's really happening. Now, I was bearish, don't get me wrong, at this spot here. Was expecting 60-ish for maybe a break like this, something like that. Basically, this swing high was about 388, so roughly up to 70, max 60, I was thinking. But it really went even a lot further than that. Went down all the way to 44. And even more, after the hook, it's now falling again. But it doesn't have a lot of space. It has bottoms here and here. So running a bit out of space, I think. And yeah, let's take a look at maybe gold. Looks like a bear flag, or more of maybe some kind of descending wedge. So short still, I think here probably, or a break. Could be interesting for continuation of this this downtrend. Eurodollar, let's take a look. Well, that's it, I guess, regarding all the others. We can take a last look at the Eurodollar. If you have questions, let me know. Yeah, I took a buy upon the break of this fractal. It could be an hourly buy, it could be a 15-minute buy. Both time frames are aligned for potential upside. In fact, so both could be used. 15-minute chart, of course, is a quicker exit because as soon as this 5 to 6 candles don't break this high, I'm out. With the 15-minute chart, an hourly would be 5 to 6 hours. So it all depends. And let's see how far it can push. Hourly stop loss is here. Actually, I'll put it at 23. Target for the moment here, but there's also a trail stop. If it gets a bit lower, perhaps somewhere in here, it could still be a bouncing spot, I think. So that's the idea. Breakout here, stop loss here, target here, but exit either with trail on 15 or 1 hour. Target 110.70 for the moment, but I would not mind to exit, as I said, through time 5 to 6 hours not breaking the high, or 5 to 6 50-minute at a lower price. Another entry could be if this hourly candle closes above the 21 band. That could be another signal. Bounce again off lower could be another signal. These are all breakout trades. They're not really Fib trades. Fib trade was off 78.6 or the 61.8, which is about the same price as the breakout now. So let's see how it goes. On New Zealand, if you want to keep an eye, I will tell you what I'll be doing. If you want to keep an eye on that, I have a Twitter account that is let's see, where do I have it? Here's my name, Chris Swarsick. Let me see if I can find it. Anyhow, obviously, I'll go back in a second. Obviously, the momentum, break of momentum, and this is an uptrend here, right here. We've had looks like a correction. So it looks like we're back in the bullish mode. So from the opposite perspective, I think if we get some flag like this, I think it would be ideal breakout. Or if we get some correction, maybe back to support, it would be a good bounce. I'm bullish, but need a pullback or a pattern. Let's see. Yes. Oh, the fibs. I promised someone to show the fibs and the time factor. Good. Let's do that right now. But before I do that, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @ChrisForsick. All right, right here. Also, if you want to join more webinars this week, we got one tomorrow on strategy, same time, same place, 7:45 a.m. UK time. Fibonacci, no, that's strategy. Today was Fibonacci wave trading. And then Thursday, we're going to take a look at mastering the waves of the Forex part 1, and then next week part 2. So I hope to see you then. All right, let's talk about fibs. Fibs, the fib levels here, promised that. Sorry, I almost didn't show them. Here they are. Here are all my fib levels. I'm not sure if it's visible, maybe like this. Well, let me show first these. 888.6, 78.6, 61.8, 50, 38.2, 23.6. The 0 and the 100. Actually, I have a webinar video recording in the archive, in the YouTube playlist. I'm sure you can find it at Admiral Markets playlist as well, by the way, from a pro learning webinar or in the elite currency one. But these are if this is too fast, but these are the levels, the retracement levels. Then the targets, minus 272, minus 61.8, minus 100, minus 161.8, minus 200, minus 261.8, and minus 423.6. All right, those are the targets. You can change it by double-clicking first with the left mouse, right-clicking on the fib property, going to fib properties, fib levels, click on add, click here 0.382 for the 38.2 fib, or minus 0.61.8 for the target. Put down here minus 61.8 space % dollar for the level. Yeah, best is the screenshot. Good idea. So let me see. Yeah, Ahmad, do you have those screenshots? Let me know if you need to look at them a bit more at these levels, okay? All right, so I'll leave these fibs on for the moment. Let's see, but let me know if you have all those things. Let's see, time frame strategy. Well, let's see, reversal, basically when there's momentum, let's say down, and then there's momentum up, all right? I consider both to be valid because they're both showing momentum. I don't, let's say, ignore the second momentum because the first one is there. So all I'm doing is always looking for momentum either side, and in some cases the momentum is present to both sides. So that's basically it. I don't ignore this momentum. I look at, if there is momentum to both sides, I take that into account. So if we do get a break to the downside, that's great because we get a follow through with momentum like this. If we get a break to the upside, that's great because we have a follow through like that. So whatever happens in the middle here is chop, and I'll be waiting for a break to either side. So an example, let's see. All right, I know Caitlin, you probably would not consider this momentum because of this wick, but for me, it still will be 3 candles to the downside here out of 5, 6. Great, Beverly. Thanks for joining, and hope to see you tomorrow. And so from this point of view, this could be considered momentum, but we also had clear momentum here. The bottom didn't get broken, just barely. So we have up and downside momentum present. So break to both sides is possible. Now in this case, we did break the top, but probably not enough for an entry. No. So we did break the top, but it wasn't an entry. And then we broke this support fractal right here. So that was a short then, which ultimately didn't go. It went nicely to the downside, but the time exit was bad. Let me see if I can find another example. Let's see, downside momentum here. And this is showing upside momentum here too. 1, 2, 3. Up momentum, down momentum. Maybe not the best example, but or this one maybe. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Up, up, down. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 out of 7, so that wouldn't qualify. Ultimately, we do have 2 candles here that are bearish and here, but depends on the rule. But the whole piece looks bearish. Maybe better example. One, 2, 3. Bearish momentum, bullish momentum. So ultimately, it's just about momentum up, momentum down. If they're visible, both are valid. That's it. Let's see. Parabolic. If you put parabolic and see if it shows trend in the momentum direction for pin candles. Not sure what you mean. Another question, if we get, see if the pin is valid or not. I'm not sure. Pin bars, maybe we have a different definition of pin bars. Pin bar for me is a reversal candle. So I don't consider, it's just a question of definition, I guess. You probably are talking about pin bars. I think a candle like, let's see, these candles are pin bars? Are these pin bars? Okay. Parabolic is a good one. right, let's see another question. If we get a momentum and a fractal is formed, yes, a break within 2 to 6 candles is valid after momentum. In that case, you have momentum, short correction, momentum. The other scenario would be momentum, long correction, momentum. Both are valid. Okay, Ketan, got it. Yeah, I was only looking. It's just a definition, indeed. I call pin bars reversal candles, but I get your point. Basic candles with wicks, yeah. That's something that would need to require some good investigation, indeed. Long correct, basically, if it's correcting short, this correction is only 2 to 6 candles. If it's a long correction, it's 13 candles or more. 12 candles or more. The 13th is the breakout. Yes, the answer is yes, because if we have momentum and we get a short correction, then here will be a fractal. And then when we get a new break, new momentum, the breakout is valid. Entry. But this zone, the corrective zone, has to be at least 2 candles, otherwise you don't have a fractal and can't last more than 6. The parabolic is not a bad thing to add to see if there's momentum or not, indeed. I mean, if it accelerates like this, you can clearly see the momentum. Could be a good visual tool. You might miss smaller momentums, but why I didn't like the euro yen because of all the moving averages that are kind of like intertwined like this. That's why. So I wasn't too big fan of it. But it was close to the bottom of the wedge. So from that point of view, from a bounce point of view, it was possible. But like the Eurodollar a bit more. Ultimately, it also has massive moving averages. So, there's, from that point of view, maybe not a big difference with the Eurodollar or Euro yen. I can see that point. Basically, they're quite similar, and maybe that's why it doesn't make sense to trade both. I mean, both are near support, both are in a wedge. So from that point of view, perhaps little difference. So I just went for the Eurodollar. Both are possible. Kind of the same setup. Okay, nice. That's an interesting rule, Keitaman. That's good. I like that. Makes sense. That's something worth testing. Let me see, where did I have the parabolics? Yeah, it's an interesting idea. All right. Cool idea. Let's see. Last question here. Do you only take the long on break of fractal with the 2 to 6 candle correction? If it's a momentum break, we got momentum, correction, momentum. Then indeed you're only taking the entry on candle number 3, 4, 5, or 6 indeed. Max 7 as an exception, but if 6th is bullish. Basically, indeed, mostly 3, 4, 5, or 6. Correct. Do I check the oil chart when I trade dollar CAD? No, not on a intraday basis. I don't. I just keep an eye on oil as a weekly matter, just to have an idea about the intermediate potential, but not from a minute or an hourly basis. But it could be good to do because they are historically quite correlated. All right. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us today. Great that I got so many comments and questions. Very appreciate that a lot. Wish you all happy hunting, good trading. I hope to see you in tomorrow's webinar with strategy, and on Thursday in the evening with waves. And if you want to join a Skype group, cool idea, then just send me an email. And otherwise, hope to see you soon. Cheers.